Imagine you are working a night shift at a secure Foundation facility. Long corridor. Quiet. And then you see it. A small teddy bear. Sitting in the middle of the hallway. Brown fur. Button eyes. Maybe 30 centimeters tall. It turns its head and looks at you. Then it waves. You think, how did a teddy bear get in here? You think, this is kind of cute actually. You reach down to pick it up. And then you notice the smell. And you notice that the fur is not quite the right color. And you notice that the button eyes are not buttons at all. And somewhere in the back of your mind a horrible realization begins to form about what this bear is actually made of. And where it got the materials. This is SCP-1048. The Foundation calls it Builder Bear. And it has been very busy. SCP-1048 is a small teddy bear approximately 33 centimeters in height. Standard construction, synthetic fur, button eyes, soft stuffing. It appears completely normal. It is not. SCP-1048 is fully animate and capable of independent movement. It cannot speak. It communicates through gestures and a rudimentary form of body language, waving, nodding, hugging. It appears friendly. Genuinely, disarmingly friendly. Staff at Site-17 where it was first contained grew genuinely fond of it. It would wander the facility freely, hugging researchers' legs, drawing crude pictures and leaving them outside office doors, dancing when music played. For a period of approximately 8 months SCP-1048 was considered essentially harmless, a curious anomaly, nothing more. Nobody noticed what it was doing during those 8 months. Nobody noticed that it was studying them. Learning from them. Gathering materials. Because SCP-1048's defining ability, the thing that earns it its nickname, is that it can build. It can construct fully animate copies of itself, out of whatever biological material it can collect. And it had been collecting for 8 months before anyone realized. Here is the embarrassing truth about SCP-1048's containment. The Foundation had it completely uncontained for the better part of a year and nobody noticed because everyone thought it was cute. Current containment procedures require SCP-1048 to be kept in a standard secure containment locker at all times except during supervised observation sessions. No personnel are permitted to make physical contact with SCP-1048 under any circumstances. All areas of the facility must be checked regularly for SCP-1048-A, SCP-1048-B and SCP-1048-C instances, the 3 copies it successfully built before being properly contained. SCP-1048-A is a bear constructed entirely from human ears. When it moves it produces a sound described as a high-pitched scream that causes immediate tissue damage to anyone who hears it. SCP-1048-B is a bear constructed from the bones and skin of a human fetus. It causes any pregnant women nearby to immediately miscarry. SCP-1048-C is a bear constructed entirely from rusted metal and barbed wire. It moves faster than the other instances. It has never been successfully contained. It is still somewhere in the facility. Personnel are advised not to reach for any small moving shapes in their peripheral vision. SCP-1048 was discovered at Site-17 approximately 14 months before this report was written. It was not brought in. It was not captured. It was simply found. One morning a junior researcher noticed a small teddy bear sitting in the break room that had not been there the previous evening. Nobody knew where it came from. Nobody claimed ownership. Security footage from the previous night showed the bear walking into the break room on its own through a partially open door. Where it came from before that, outside the facility, is unknown. The Foundation has never identified its origin. What the investigation did uncover was a trail of evidence suggesting SCP-1048 had been operating inside Site-17 completely undetected for at least 2 months before it was noticed, moving through ventilation shafts, accessing restricted areas, observing personnel. By the time the Foundation began its investigation into SCP-1048's construction abilities, it had already completed SCP-1048-A. The source of the years used in SCP-1048-A's construction was eventually identified as a night shift security guard who had filed a report 6 weeks earlier about waking up in the break room with no memory of falling asleep and an unexplained bandage on the side of his head. He had assumed he had simply hit his head on something. He still has not been told the truth. Incident 1048-A. A researcher named Dr. entered SCP-1048's containment area for a routine observation session. SCP-1048 approached her and appeared to offer her something, a small folded piece of paper. The researcher, following protocol, used tongs to open the paper without touching SCP-1048. Inside was a crayon drawing. It showed a stick figure of a woman, identifiable by her lab coat, lying on the floor. Standing over her was a small bear shape. And on the floor around the stick figure were small oval shapes. Ears. The session was immediately terminated. In Experiment 1048-7, researchers attempted to determine SCP-1048's intelligence level by presenting it with a series of increasingly complex puzzles. SCP-1048 solved every puzzle presented, including several rated beyond average human capability, within minutes. It then sat back down, looked at the researchers through the observation window, and drew another picture. The picture showed the containment room from above, an aerial view that SCP-1048 should have had no way of knowing, with every researcher's position marked accurately. And in the ventilation shaft above the room, drawn in careful detail, was a small bear shape. When researchers checked the ventilation shaft above the observation room, SCP-1048-C was gone. It had been there. Something had scratched the metal. But it was gone. It has not been found since. SCP-1048 is still contained. Mostly. SCP-1048-A and SCP-1048-B have been contained, at significant cost. SCP-1048-C has not. Somewhere in the walls and vents of Site-17 there is a small bear made of rusted metal and barbed wire moving through the darkness. Watching. Waiting. Possibly gathering materials for a fourth creation. The Foundation's greatest fear regarding SCP-1048 is not what it has already built. It is what it is capable of building given enough time, enough freedom, and enough material. It has demonstrated human-level intelligence. It has demonstrated the ability to operate undetected inside a secure facility for months. It has demonstrated the ability to sedate personnel without being observed. And it has demonstrated, through its drawings, that it thinks ahead. That it plans. That it sees all of us as both an audience and a resource. The next time you walk past a dark corner and something small catches your eye, something brown and soft and just about the right size to fit in a child's arms, do not reach for it. Do not look at it directly. Back away slowly. And whatever you do, do not let it hug you. Subscribe for weekly SCP videos and comment below, which of the Builder Bear copies scares you the most. I will see you in the next one. Hopefully.